can go over here to this input mask, click this button over here, and then we can, once we save the table, we can select phone number as our input mask. And then I'll just simply click finish. All right, now I could continue on with all kinds of additional field names. For example, company address, state, zip, phone number for the either the manager or the owner. I could add all kinds of stuff like when did they become our customer. I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of the type of data that we can store. The one thing that I am going to keep track of is the company ID, and I'll simply type text for that. So this is the company identification. See, what happens is every single company has to have a unique ID. Let's say for taxpayer purposes, right? So we can have within a mall 2 McDonald's. Well, those 2 McDonald's have 2 different company identifications so that we can see how much money this particular McDonald's made as opposed to this one that was just on the other side of the mall, say, for example. So CID will represent the company identification. In essence, it's going to make sure that I maintain uniqueness amongst all the records that I'm going to type. So with this field selected, I will click primary key, and then I can go ahead and start to enter data. And by the way, I didn't change the field size for any of these. You could go ahead and do that and change it from 255 to something smaller. Just for the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Datasheet view, or I could click the top part of the view button, and then I'm going to start to enter data. So I'll click yes. All right, I can open up these columns here so that I can see all of the data that I'm typing. All right, company name. So let's say that we have Jack in a Box, and the contact person is Billy, and the phone number is, and I'm just going to make up stuff here, right? So I'm just typing in data here. And let's say that the CID is A1234. Press enter. We have El Pollo Loco. And Sonia Thomas is the name of the contact. And again, I'm just going to make up a phone number here. Now that CID is just a bunch of numbers, say, for example. So it could very well be that the CID is numbers or letters. We don't know. It just depends on, I guess, whatever City Hall has assigned in terms of the taxpayer ID for any given company. Let's say that we have McDonald's, and the contact person is Stacy. And again, I'm going to make up a phone number, and the ID is A, Z, and then a bunch of numbers, letters, whatever. Okay, is it possible that we are responsible for more than one Jack in a Box? Absolutely. This Jack in a Box over here is the one in Glendora, and there's another Jack in a Box in the city of Azusa that we also service. So we have another Jack in the Box with a different contact person. That contact person is Jennifer. And again, I'll make up a number here. And let's say that that is B, and then couple of numbers over here. Press enter. All right, so I can just keep on entering data, as you can see here, in terms of all of the customers that we service. All right, so I have these 2 tables, but there is no relationship between them. For example, did you know that Kristen is responsible for El Pollo Loco? Well, you wouldn't be able to determine that by looking at these 2. We don't have any field that connects these 2. Okay, so one way that I'm going to show you how to do this is by creating what's referred to as a join or a linking table. All right, so the way that we're going to do that is as follows. We're going to click Create, click Table, and to create a join or a linking table, in other words, we're trying to create a table that links these 2. What we're going to do is we're going to take the name of this table and the name of this table, and that's going to be the new name of our join or linking table. So I'll click over here, and I'll go to design view, and it's asking me for the name, so we're going to call this the employee company table, and I'll click OK. All right, so this is going to be the table that joins these 2. Well, whenever you're creating a join or linking table, you take the primary key from this table, the primary key from this table, and you insert those as fields for this table. Well, for employee, we had SSN as our primary key. So I'll type SSN. And that was a text. We had to make sure that the data type is the same as the employee table. Now, it is possible that someone might not know what SSN stands for, so I'll type in Social Security Number, enter for the description. Now, I take the primary key from this table. I take the primary key from this table, which is CID, or the company identification. So over here, I'll type in CID. That also was a text. This is the company identification. All right. So I have these two fields, which are the primary keys from the other fields. Now what you need to do is you need to make both of these the primary key, because it is possible that we'll have the same Social Security number more than once for a particular for two particular records, because maybe Robert and Joshua are both responsible for Jack in the Box, say for example. It is possible that we'll have the same company ID, because it's possible that Jack in the Box and El Pollo Loco have the same person within the employees table to service their needs, whatever it is, napkins, forks, knives, so forth and so on. So really what has to happen is this needs to be the primary key, and this needs to be the primary key. Now, this whole idea of database concepts and primary keys, can be a little bit tricky. So I'm just asking you right now to go along with what I'm saying. Later on, as you study Microsoft some more, you're going to understand some of the concepts of why it would be best to have both of these as the primary key. For right now, just trust me. You're going to click this. You're going to hold down Shift. You're going to click this. Then you're going to select the primary key. That's the way you've got to do it. See, if you select this field over here and select primary key, and then you select this field and select primary key, see how it takes away the primary key from this guy? So you got to hold down Shift, select both, select primary key. Now both of these are a combination primary key, or a complex primary key. All right, it's time to enter some data. So let me go ahead and switch to the datasheet view. And once again, I can open these up a little bit. So let's say that Robert is responsible for Jack in the Box. Well, Robert is 1111. Jack in the Box is A1234. Okay, so Robert, who's this guy right here. Oh, I forgot to put the input mask. Sorry about that. Actually, I'm kind of glad I made this mistake, because I can show you now what to do. I forgot. Notice as I type in Robert's Social Security number, it's not putting it in that mask. So let me press Escape. I have to go back over here to Design View, or I could just simply click the top part over here, the View button. And for Social Security number, let me click it over here. Let me create that input mask. I forgot to do that. So I click this button over here, say yes, Social Security number. Ah, that's what I forgot to do. Click Finish. And now let me click this top part of the View button. Yes, I want to save. Now when I type in 1111, there we go. That's Robert. Tab. What is the name of the company? It was A1234. Press Enter. So now what that means is Robert, who is this Social Security number, is responsible for Jack in the Box, and that's the CID for that Jack in the Box. Okay, how about El Pollo Loco? So what did I type? I guess I shouldn't have typed so many random numbers. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit Control-C to copy that, because I'm going to forget that. Let's say that Kristen is responsible for El Pollo Loco. Okay, so Kristen is what? All threes? All right, so Kristen is responsible for it. I'm going to hit Control-V as in Victor for that company. And that company, by the way, let me press Enter, is El Pollo Loco. Let's just go down the list. Joshua is responsible for McDonald's. And let me just double click. Control-C for copy. So Joshua, I think he was all fives, is responsible for this company. Press Enter. All right, now we have a situation over here. See, Jackson is the brand new kid on the block. So he's kind of like the trainee. You ever go to the store and you see the boss man looking over the shoulder of the trainee, and the trainee's not trying to make sure that he's doing everything right, and then you got this intimidating manager looking over the shoulder. You feel sorry for the trainee, right? Well, that's what we got over here. Jackson's the trainee, and Robert's his boss. So both of these guys are going to be responsible for McDonald's. So what we want to do is, actually, I already have someone responsible for McDonald's. Let's make it this Jack in the Box then, this guy over here. Let me hit Control-C. All right, so we got Robert, all ones, Jackson, all sevens, responsible for Jack in the Box. Okay, so all ones, tab, Control V. He's responsible for that Jack in the Box. Same thing with the new kid over here, Jackson, who's all sevens. Okay, so all sevens. And he's also responsible for that same company. Okay, press enter. So as you can see here, I've just got this initial data down. Now, typically a data entry person would not do it this way. What you're going to do is you would enter, or you would create a form, which is much easier to enter the data. But just so that we can discuss tables here, I'm doing it this way. All right, so I have some initial data for my two tables, and then I have this linking table, but still we don't have a physical relationship between these three tables. So what we need to do is to create that relationship. So what I want you to do is you can click, let's see, where is that? Is it create? Database tools, here it is, database tools, relationships. So click database tools, then click relationships. Let me make a mistake. Do not do this. I can double click, double click, double click. See how I'm double clicking that same table over and over and over again? Now, to a database expert, there's a reason why you would do that, but I don't want you guys to do this. So I'm going to click a field over here and press delete. And I'm just going to delete all these tables by pressing delete over and over again. Let me show the tables. What I want you to do is either double click once or select this and click add. So company add, employee company add, or double click each of these once and then click close. You just want one copy of each of the different tables. By dragging the titles, I can rearrange them. So I'll put employee company rather, and then company over here. So I'm splitting them up like this. All right. How are these two tables related? Well, they're related via this common field, SSN. This one has an SSN field. This one has an SSN field. So I need to connect these two. Now, the way that I'm going to do that is to drag and drop. So I take this guy, drag and drop it over here, let go. This is the dialog that asks me if whether or not this is the relationship that I want between these two tables. Do I want to relate them via SSN? I do. So I just simply click create. Now, in terms of these two tables over here, how do I want to relate them? Well, I want to relate them via the CID field. So I can drag from here to here, or I can drag from here to here. Same thing with the SSN. It doesn't matter from where you start. So in this case, I'm going to click this guy, drag and drop it on top of this CID. There we go. So now I'm going to click create. Don't worry about all these other options. We'll talk about those later. So I click create. Now I have a relationship between these three tables. What this is telling me now is that in order for me to find out what company is responsible for any given employee, I have to go through this table to here, or from here to here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. Do you want to save? Yes, I do. So I click save. All right, and that's it. So that's the very basic introduction to Microsoft Access just in terms of tables. Now, it doesn't look like we've done anything special. Later on, I can start talking about queries, forms, and reports to really truly give you an in-depth analysis of how to use Microsoft Access, which is probably the most difficult of all the Microsoft Office tools, but it's also one of the most powerful. People who become DBAs, or database administrators, they make a lot of money doing this kind of stuff because keeping track of data is very, very important. Okay, so this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.